Return of the Mount Hua Sect, Chapter 125. I'll show you what happens when you touch Mount Hua. Show off your best skills. Those words stabbed and twisted like a knife inside Jinhyun's heart. He couldn't help it. There were 9 disciples from the Wudang sect guarding the main entrance to the Hwa sect. Including Jinhyun, there were 10 in total. But Mount Hua only sent 5 disciples. It would have made sense if they had chosen a representative to have a one-on-one match. These people had come to assist their subsect. Even if they recognized that they were no match for the Wudang sect, since they had come this far, they would still need to act like they tried their best before returning. But right now, this fool was talking about fighting, not just having a match. Cheongmyeong was saying that even if all the disciples of Wudang came at once, they would be able to deal with them all. Jinhyun's side had twice the number that Mount Hwa's did. Even so, Cheongmyeong said they could fight as if he was utterly ignoring Wudang. When in Jinhyun's life had he been so neglected? Infinite Life Sutra. If he didn't recall his teachings, Jinhyun felt that his rising anger would boil over and erupt. He struggled to calm his heart by reciting the sutra before staring at Baekchun, a look of unbridled anger still apparent on his face. Should I accept this as the will of Mount Hwa? Jinhyun meant that Baekchun, as the senior, should voice his position. However, he merely shrugged his shoulders at Jinhyun's question. If we take back our words now, the whole world will laugh at Mount Hwa. And Baekchun laughed bitterly. Even if I wanted to end this peacefully, it doesn't look like you would let this go. You've seen correctly. Jinhyun bit his lip. He could tolerate insults directed at him. But now, Cheongmyeong had not only insulted Jinhyun, he had insulted the Wudang sect itself. 6 hours. Jinhyun stared at Cheongmyeong with a terrifying look in his eyes. 1 day. I'll give you 1 day. At this time tomorrow, we will strike the Hwa sect as you said. Please note that since you were the one that proposed this, we will not be held responsible for any unforeseen accidents according to the Gangho's laws. Why wait until tomorrow? If you want to play, we could play right now. Cheongmyeong wiggled his finger provokingly. Come on. Jinhyun's fists trembled as he tightly clenched them. His breathing grew rapid and his face went pale. Seeing this scene, Yoonjung shook his head. He'll die from blood pressure before even fighting if he can't control himself. All of the disciples of Mount Hwa understood. People who don't know him believe that Cheongmyeong's greatest strength lies in his martial arts. However, compared to his ability to piss people off, his martial arts are hardly worth mentioning. During the relatively short time that Yoonjung had spent with Cheongmyeong, there had been dozens of times he thought he might die of anger. At this moment, Yoonjung couldn't help but feel sorry for Jinhyun, despite the barriers between their sects. Just don't talk to him. The more you talk, the more he responds, and the angrier you become. However, instead of rushing at Cheongmyeong, Jinhyun restrained himself and moved modestly. Seeing his composure, the disciples of Mount Hwa exclaimed, as expected from the Wudang sect. Oh my, he managed to hold himself back. Hang in there. Everything looks good now. They felt like applauding. Tomorrow. At this time tomorrow. As soon as Jinhyun spoke, he gnashed his teeth. I'll see you this time tomorrow. Don't even try to ask for mercy from my hands. You'll understand why you are Mount Hwa and we are the Wudang sect. You will understand the difference very clearly. Yeah, fine. Cheongmyeong turned around as if he didn't care. Next, he'll say that we shouldn't run away if we doubt our skills. Can we go in and rest now? Yoonjung's mouth was agape. You devil-like bastard. After 3 months of closed-door training, had he researched the most effective ways to step on people's nerves? Oddly, Jinhyun no longer showed any reaction. It seemed true that when a person's anger boiled over to the extreme, they would become calm and go silent. Jinhyun turned around after giving Cheongmyeong a cold glance. I'll see you tomorrow. With those final words, he decisively left the Hua Sect. Sayong! The Wudang sect's disciples rushed to Jinhyun's side. Why are you leaving that arrogant bastard alone? We don't need to wait till tomorrow. You need to fix his bad habits now. Right. I've never seen such a rude man in my life. I ought to break his head open and bring him back to his senses. No, he's so out of his mind. Even that might not be enough. Hearing his Saje's complaints, Jinhyun stopped walking. Right now? Yes, now. Jinhyun took a deep breath. Do you know why I said we should wait until tomorrow? We don't. If we do it now, blood will be drawn. The Sajes shut their mouths. This wasn't the first time they had come out of the sect. They had already been through such conflicts dozens of times and experienced big and small incidents. Was there anyone among them that hadn't given or experienced injuries? Jinhyun's sword had already seen blood many times. There was no way he would be afraid of seeing blood. Jinhyun's words meant that he would kill Cheongmyeong if a fight broke out right now. Jinhyun turned his head and looked at the Hwa sect. They'll soon realize what they've done. One day is long enough to let the horror of what's to come sink in. Yes, Sahyung. Let's head back. Jinhyun headed toward Path's Edge Training Hall. His Sajes followed behind him, and after a while, the training hall leader also hurried to catch up. Let's go together. They're gone. Yeah, they left. Left behind, Manhua's disciples looked at the empty entrance with slight dismay. But unlike them, Wei Lipsan was on the verge of fainting. What the hell happened? He was sure that he had called for help, but could help mean beating up the Wudang sect's people? In the past, Mount Hua was a prestigious sect and was one of the 9 great sects. They should have had some friendship with the Wudang sect. Wei Lipsan hoped that based on that friendship, they would be able to mediate it somehow. He never thought things would get so bad. Unaware of Wei Lipsan's inner turmoil, Cheongmyeong smiled. Now you can stretch your feet out and sleep comfortably. Feet? Stretch his feet? Thud. In the end, Wei Lipsan stepped back and fainted. Huh? Father! Leader! Wei Soheng and Yeonpyeong were frightened and rushed to Wei Lipsan. Cheongmyeong clicked his tongue as he watched the scene. I didn't mean for him to stretch out here. He seems quite impatient. The disciples of Mount Hua sighed. Wei Lipsan jumped out of his bed and looked up at the ceiling with his eyes wide open. He waited for a while and stroked his forehead with a trembling hand. It was a dream. Of course, such a nonsensical thing was impossible in real life. With a sigh of relief, Wei Lipsan reached out for his kettle and gulped down some water. Drinking a bit of cold water, he felt like his heart was calming down. Click. The door opened and Yeonpyeong entered. Are you awake? How long have I been lying down? It was about 4 hours. I see. Wei Lipsan felt his body was getting weaker as things went on. It was necessary to rest and recover, but he felt like it was abnormal because his body was unable to stabilize. I need to get up. We never know when the Wudang sect will come. Didn't they say they were coming tomorrow? Tomorrow? Yes. Did they come while I was asleep? Yeonpyeong narrowed his eyes as he looked at Wei Lipsan. Did you have any dreams? Yes. Such a strange dream. A person came from Mount Hua, and that thug-like man argued with the Wudang sect's disciples and risked the fate of the Hwa sect by demanding a fight. It was so absurd. Even in the dream, I thought I was going to faint. Does it make any sense for such a madman to come from Mount Hua? He even said that he's Mount Hua's divine dragon. My condition must be worse than I thought. Wei Lipsan looked at Yeonpyeong and stopped laughing when he saw a serious expression, and silence fell. It cannot be. It is. I don't think so. It is quite clear. Wei Lipsan's hands trembled. It really happened. Calm down, sect leader. The water has already been spilled. Now that we've reached this point, maybe we should sneak off in the night. Escape in the night? Isn't it better than holding out and dying? Seeing the anger on that man's face, when he comes back tomorrow, he'll kill anyone in sight. But isn't he a Taoist? Leader, look at reality. If we counted the number of people of the 9 great sects killed, they would fill the entire Yellow River. Do you really think there are no wicked men among them? Wei Lip-san was speechless and closed his mouth. If we want to save our lives, we need to think quickly. One day. No, there's not even a day left. Wei Lip-san got up with a stiff face. Where are the Mount Hua's disciples? I guided them to the annex. They must be there. I see. Wei Lip-san accepted reality. If it wasn't a dream and had actually happened, then now was the time to make a decision. It wouldn't matter if I was alone. But Wei Lip-san had a wife and child. He had disciples to protect. And above all, at this rate, they'll be upset too. Mount Hua's disciples had come to help the Hua Sect in their time of need. Although they had chosen a bad method due to their inexperience, Wei Lip-san couldn't bear to see them fall to the Wudang sect's sword. Pyong, yes, sect leader. I think we should lower Hua sect's signboard. Even if it isn't Nanyang, if we can keep the name Hua, wouldn't that be enough? Leader. Yeonpyeong felt troubled, but Wei Lip-san seemed to be at ease now. It was all greed. Wei Lip-san never wanted to abandon the land where he lived. His heart didn't want to be pushed aside by Wudang's disciples. He was overwhelmed by desire to protect his sect. In the end, it was all because of his greed. And when he let go of his greed, he felt at ease. But the world doesn't always work the way we want. It won't work out the way you want, Father. Huh? Wei So-heng walked into the room. What do you mean? It won't work the way I want. Even if we try to give up now, the disciples of Mount Hua won't leave. Why? It's a bit strange, but they don't seem to have the slightest thought about losing to the Wudang sect. Wei Lip-san's face darkened. What are they? Daredevils? No, it couldn't be. Even if the others were unaware, Baek-chun, the righteous sword of Hua, is someone who must understand. He led the Baek disciples and would likely become the sect leader of Mount Hua someday. It didn't make sense for such a person to be unable to grasp the situation accurately. I need to meet with the righteous sword of Hua. Wei So-heng's face turned awkward. That's great. What? Well, he said that Father must have woken up by now, and he requested to meet you. The righteous sword of Hua? No. Wei So-heng spoke with a shaky face. Mount Hua's divine dragon. That damn dragon of Mount Hua. What divine dragon? He has to be the shitty dragon. For once, Wei So-heng could fully sympathize with his father's choice of words.